Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm your host, Bob the Knife Junkie DeMarco. With me tonight is Alex Tissot of Alex's Knifebox on YouTube and Instagram, and co-host of the Sharp Talk podcast. Alex, thanks for coming on.
Pleasure to be here.
We know it's you. We know it's you. Tonight we're going to be talking about a few new knives coming out. We're going to promo the upcoming interview podcast, and we'll have a little banter here and there. We're going to talk about the state of the collection. I'm going to talk about my Cold Steel XL Recon 1, which I've had an opportunity to take out for a test drive, not test drive, a hardcore outdoors trip to the local park. And Alex will talk about whatever awesome, sweet new knives he has. And then I want to ask you about how your carry habits have changed of late. Are you experiencing a priority shift in your collecting? Is it slowing down? How about the trading? Why is that money? Is it contagion spread? Other worries? How has your knife usage changed? Are you out back a lot with your knives in the back nine, cutting weeds and clearing stuff out? So I want to talk about some of that stuff. So get some of those thoughts ready, and we'll get into it. Join the conversation with your comments and opinions and your questions, and Jim will put them up on the screen and we'll talk about them. So what do you say? You want to get into it?
Let's get into it, man.
So, okay. It's hard to ignore the fact that a lot of us are at home today. Well, I've been going into work every day. Alex, I know you have, Jim has, things are changing all the time. It's a dynamic situation. But today and last Thursday, I took the day off to help my wife, who is not only running her office, but she's also teaching our two daughters full time. It's crazy. I know you all are experiencing this in one way or another, or are hearing an awful lot about it. Today, I worked with my daughter. She did great and got great grades recently on a report card. My 9-year-old, I'm very, very proud of her. And then I worked with my 5-year-old in pre-K, who, yes, she has a curriculum too that we have to follow. And I was a little shocked to find that out, that it was more than just coloring. And today we had to build a bridge. Today we were talking about physics and why bridges are strong in pre-K. And so we built a bridge. And I was like, you know what? If I have to be at home, not if I have to be at home. I mean, it was a pleasure to be at home with my girls. But I'm like, if I have to follow a pre-K curriculum on my day off and build a bridge, we're building a bridge, baby. We're building a bridge. So we built, it's kind of like a railroad trestle bridge.
That's pretty advanced for pre-K, man.
Well, that's the thing. I might add that I helped her out, but I got to say, she did all the gluing and most of the placement. It was admittedly my design, but so I'm finding out new things about myself too. I've always been a handy guy, but I didn't know I knew so much about bridges and triangles. Are yes. Triangles not the greatest shape?
It's amazing what they can do. They're the strongest shape.
They're amazing. And since, before I get off of this pride bandwagon, I want to mention my younger daughter is recognizing words, and that's amazing to me. And my wife just won an international award of recognition from her peers, kind of like the Oscars in her line of work. And she was supposed to go to London to receive it. And she's like, they always nominate me. Knowing my luck, it'll be this year, when I can't go to London, and I'll get it. And she got it, and I'm very proud of her. So
awesome, man.
Hey, Therapeutic Edge.
What's up, Therapeutic Edge?
So things are dark, but things are also light. I want to ask you, sir, what were you carrying today in thine pocket?
I knew you were going to ask that. Dang it. Where did I put it?
It should be in your pocket.
Holy crap, it is in my pocket.
What do you know?
I carried this Michael Ziba Shinola collaboration. This is called the Manhattan Special.
That is cool.
It's a pretty cool little sticker, and he's making these currently, but this one was the original one that came out years ago. I actually bought this exact knife from Jim Skelton. So you guys can see it on review on Jim's website, or I'm going to review it too, but it's an old school one.
What is what exactly is Shinola? Is it like shit from Shinola, that old school? Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I think it was a hair grease or something. He doesn't know shit from Shinola. It was a thing my grandfather used to say. Sorry.
So Shinola is it's a company out of Detroit, and they make some pretty fancy high-end watches. Not like, not like an Omega or anything like that, but talking about like $800 to maybe like $1,600 watches,
like fashion watches, kind of.
They also are a a hotel. And they have their own gear, and then they do gear collaborations with knife makers. They've done it with Benchmade, this Michael Ziba one right here. They've done, they also, I think, manufacture bicycles too. It's kind of a really weird, kind of little niche-y company. Yeah.
Kind of and I'm not using this in a derogatory way, because this sounds like a cool company, but kind of like a hipster brand, giving you like all the cool accoutrement to live the cool life you want to live. And
exactly.
Have interesting products around you. Hold up that knife again. So this to me is like the ultimate urban carry gentleman's knife. That's like, you live in the city and you're going to a meeting.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful knife. I really like it. It's elegant, it's sleek, and it's got the little flare with the lightning bolt on the clip. That's pretty cool.
And the difference between this one and the new one that you see now, obviously you're going to get the little Shinola lightning bolt thing. This is the only knife that Michael Ziba uses his kitchen cutlery logo on, because it doesn't say Ziba anywhere else. And the new ones are utilizing Nitro V steel, which is excellent, but this one is M390.
So what is the logo? Is it a rocket or something? I can't tell.
It's a lightning bolt.
Oh, but can I see it on the blade?
Oh, on the blade. Now the Michael Ziba logo on this is just a couple of feathers.
Oh, okay.
And that's what he uses specifically for his kitchen cutlery, because he makes kitchen knives too.
And those are beautiful. I've seen them only on his Instagram post, but man, they're gorgeous.
They really are.
So before I go on to, I'll tell you very quickly, and then we're going to talk about this knife a little bit later. But today, I asked the questions hey, Neves Knives, good to see you.
What's up, Neves? Which one? There's
or
two
both.
of you.
So one of the questions, excellent. Women
carry knives.
Nice to have you. Today, one of the questions I asked is, if you are at home, how has being at home changed your carry? Today I was home. Ordinarily I've been working, but today I was home, and I carried my my XL Recon 1 and my, also illegal in my state, or at least to carry out in public, the Benchmade AFO. Nice. I love this knife. It's an awesome automatic. But we went out to the woods with my girls and we collected some bamboo. I'm going through this weird stage. We go to the woods a lot. We live close to a really great park that has a lot of woods. And when we go, I'm like, from now on, girls, every time we go, we have to come back with a bamboo stick. Every one of us, because there are bamboo forests all over there, and we get them and we walk around innocuously enough like they're bamboo sticks, but I know that they're punchy sticks for the future, so I bring them back and we kind of just throw them in the backyard, and my daughters like having a walking stick when we're walking, and all that, and then when we get home I put them to a more sinister agenda. Edwin, it's nice to see you, sir. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Edwin posted on Instagram a couple of days ago, or last night, I guess, maybe, some New York strip steaks that were just, they were enviable. Both. Nice to have you both. Great to have you. I think this is the first time, at least, that you've piped up, if you have been with us before, but we have recently met virtually. Jock's Knife. Good to carry the cold steel GI Tanto. And some yes, okay, the GI Tanto, that's the one that's I have one of those, and that's the one. It's a full tang slab construction, giant kind of swedged Tanto. I'm a sucker for those. So yeah, those are what I carried today. And you know what else I've been carrying recently? I got one of these.
Oh yeah,
because
very
I have a bunch
nice.
of slip joints and I love pens too. It's another little fetishy thing. And so I got one of these, and it's kind of all right, depending on. Hey Tyler, nice to have you, sir. It's kind of cool to have, depending on the pants, but otherwise, it's kind of like wearing the big thigh pads, in football pants, and it's So I'm trying to get into it because I like carrying these knives. Oh, Hamzad Kareem, nice to have you, sir.
Nice to see you,
buddy. Sorry, I got lost there with this stupid thing. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, so next show coming up, next weekend interview show. Let's see, we had Ernest Emerson recently. We just had the Apostle P on the interview show, and then the next one, I believe, if Jim will corroborate this, is our 100th podcast, which we're very excited about. And
congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's been really fun, and I feel like I'm just kind of getting up to speed. And it wouldn't happen at all without Jim. Not only did he make the suggestion in the first place that we do a podcast together, but he's the one who does the actual hard work. I just get to talk to a lot of my heroes. It's a pretty sweet position to be in. And so, Jim, I thank you. And so the 100th show is coming up, and we are going to do a giveaway. And I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be yet, but it'll be sweet. I'm going to get something. I'll spend a little money. I'll get something nice, something that you'll all like, or will all at least like to win. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, how I'm going to formulate the giveaway. I've been lazy in the past. I've done a few giveaways, and it's kind of been like, whoever leaves the first message, I'll give it to you. And then, one person leaves, and then no one, and I don't know why I do it like that. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to figure out a better way to do it. If anyone has any suggestions, let me know. Actually, I think you've done some, Alex. Hang on, let me see this. Jock's Knife. Hey guys, just listen to Emerson. Wasn't a fan before, but only knives all the time, especially that Saks folder. I knew I should have brought it over from the case.
That is one of the cooler Emersons for sure.
It really is.
Saks is awesome.
The Saks is awesome, as is this Iron Dragon, which I have not parted with since you sent it my way, sir. I got to say, I have mixed emotions about the Saks, even though it's probably my favorite Emerson. Well, one of my favorites. Anyway, I love the blade shape, but it's the least ergonomic Emerson I have, and I've had a lot of them, and right now I have 5 of them, and then I also have these ZT Emersons, which are great. Actually, I need a little advice if someone can give it at some point on this. It's not as smooth as it once was. I took it apart, tried to make it better, and and I kind of made it worse. And it's not the first time I've taken apart one of these things. So.
We'll talk. I used to have one of those.
Okay. I think I might have to do some sanding or something.
I have a few tricks for you.
Okay. All right. And then if they're, if it works for me, we'll get it up there. I was expecting with, yeah. Well, okay. Here's one. There's one right there. And this was a tearing cut. But yeah. Let's see. So I was going to talk about Ostap Hell and his new line of kitchen knives with real steel. And you know what? I actually didn't have a chance to read the article, but I do have to say, and this is just me being honest. Hey, we're live. Oh, anything can happen here. I didn't do my homework. Oh. But real
Those
steel,
are beautiful.
Yeah, they are beautiful. And they totally are his design aesthetic, like 100%. It reminds me very much of, you would definitely see that on the same shelf as the Metamorph, which I foolishly sold somewhat recently. Not that I regret it too much, because that damn knife just kept stabbing me in the palm. I guess I couldn't quite get the hang of the opening, or I was trying to do it too much, like, no one can see this. I'm sneaking up on them, and now I have it. And every time I did that, I would poke myself. So yeah, they are beautiful, aren't they? Do you cook, Alex?
I do. I was born in France, and in France, If you don't know how to cook, you're not a man. That's just our culture. So from the age of 4, grandma taught me the old school ways. Some of those meals used to take 3 days to make. I don't put that much effort anymore, so don't tell my wife.
So what do you use in the kitchen? A sabatier? Those are
actually have some Spydercos, believe it or not, some kitchen Spydercos. Yeah, they work pretty good, easy to sharpen.
I have a sabatier that was my grandmother's, and it was sharpened down to a very thin. Now it looks like a fillet knife, kind of. But those are French cooking knives, and frequently, I'm sure now they make them in a variety of stainless steels. But all the ones that I'm familiar with and have seen in my life have been beautifully patinaed high carbon steel. What would you recommend for a first Emerson? Oh God. Okay. Well, I know what Edwin would say, and he's our resident Emerson expert and true collector. He would say get the CQC 7B first. That is the 3.4 inch chisel ground. It's a V ground chisel edge tanto. I believe the B is without the Emerson wave. I would suggest you get your first Emerson with the wave, because that's half of the trip.
Yeah.
But I that would be a great place to start. I personally say you start with the Commander. I mean, because that was the first, at least that I ever saw, and it was kind of, the 6 was the first one that came out for the Navy SEALs, and then that morphed into the 7 for the rest of us hoi polloi, and then the Commander came out as the big. I don't know. That was kind of the intro to the wider market, and what a beautiful knife that is. Capable, and it comes in a number of sizes. You get the Super, which is about 3.9 inches. The Super Commander. You get the regular Commander, which is about 3.75 inch blade, and that's a V ground chisel edge recurve. I mean, it's ridiculously sharp. If you don't know much about the chisel edge and you look askance at it, I understand. You might think it tracks oddly through material, and that I get. It's slightly different. But man, oh man, can you get a chisel edge sharp? Holy mackerel. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Because if this is the V ground edge, and then you take half of that away and make it a chisel ground, bam, look at, there's just a lot less that needs to go through there. And you can get your traditional work chisels extremely sharp. That's how you can cut through marble and rock and, that kind of thing. Anyway, so yeah. You asked, and of course I went off on a jag, but yeah, I would say the Commander.
I'm gonna say something different though.
Let's hear it.
Not that I disagree with the CQC 7, because that's the ultimate Emerson popular one, the one that really got it going. But in this day and age, for a lot of people, and I know Bob doesn't like this one, but I'm gonna say for you guys that are into ball bearings and action and stuff like that, the Sheepdog is a pretty nice option too. I'm a big fan of it.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I mean, I can't honestly say there's any Emerson I don't like. It's just not high on my. This is the rare case where the drop point version is more as a better looking blade and a better looking overall profile than the Bowie. And yes, I am superficial. Yes, it is. Oftentimes it's about how it looks for me, because even if it's a great knife, if it just looks off for me, the paramilitary too just looks off. I love it. I have one, and I probably won't ever get rid of it. And it feels great, and I love to use it around the house, but you're not going to catch me dead wearing it. See, wearing it. See, I even said wearing it. You're not even going to catch me carrying it out. If someone says, "Let me see your knife," and I pull it out, and they're like, "Well, what's with the handle to blade ratio here?" And yes, this circle here, we all know PM2s, but out in the wider world, people don't know PM2s. That look at that and be like, first of all, that's funny. What's with the hole? And then, thank you. I'm very much, I'm very excited about that, especially for this guy who's got follow through issues. But anyway, yeah. So I think that the Sheepdog with the clip point just makes it look off, makes it look too short, the blade. But with the drop point, I can get with it. And actually, I like the mini version that they just came out with better. And that's a rare thing for me to say.
Yep.
But you're saying the sheepdog because of the action and that, right? And the 3 ways of opening and all that.
The 3 ways of opening it, the Emerson wave, the thumb stud, and what's the other way?
The flipper.
Oh, and the flipper, right? Yeah. So you got 3 ways of opening it. It's drop shut ball bearing. I have one in my Carta that's excellent. Yeah, I've just been a big fan of that knife.
You have one in my Carta. We're going to talk about some of your new knives coming up shortly in the state of the collection. But I wanted to ask you if you think this is a worthy experiment. I mentioned this on last week's Wednesday supplemental that I would like to. I've had a Patreon account that I've never really activated, and I was thinking I'd activate it and try and get. And this is so that my wife doesn't murder me. But 2 different CQC7s. Mm-hmm. One with the standard phosphor bronze washers, and then one with the ball bearings, the flipper version, and then kind of torture test them, which will be very hard for me. I to not just be like, oh, now I have these 2 CQC7s, but the whole point is to actually torture test it. So I would have to go through that and then see, and by torture test I mean kind of like throw in the river, kind of get some grit in there, or kind of accelerate the aging of both knives, and then see how the action is. See if there really is a noticeable difference in robustness between the phosphor bronze washers and the ball bearing washers after, say, a little bit of that. Because when I hold up the Iron Dragon and I look through and I can see light, and then I can see those ball bearings, that means where I see light coming through there, that grit can get through there, But is that a real factor? I mean, that's something people talk about, kind of like the lock bar insert wearing down and then getting a new one, which will never happen. So is it the same with the ball bearings? What do you think? I
think if okay, here's my simple answer. If I'm getting deployed to Afghanistan, I'll want a washer knife because of what I'm going to be doing and the environment you'll be in, right?
Yeah.
But if you're in the city, cutting boxes, stuff like that, you like to fidget with your knife, you're going to like the bearing better. And okay. I actually prefer washers just because I like the feel of them.
And you can get amazing action with washers, like the Sax. The Sax I was talking about is about as smooth as this. But your mentioning this brings up a bit of something from deep in my past, which is, I think that in collecting knives, I'm always thinking, like, what if suddenly I'm transported to some foreign hostile environment, and what I have in my pocket is the only thing, and it's got to survive for the rest of my life. That's the kind of thing that led me to Cold Steel when I was in high school. You know what I mean? So that's never gone away, and I'm substantially past high school, as you well know. I shaved the beard, so it's harder to tell, but I'm getting up there, but that's still, that sort of boyish thing hasn't left. So that's what I love so much about the Medford. It's
oh yeah,
thin and sleek, but oh my God, man. Oh my gosh. This thing is an amazing, amazingly solid and smooth mechanism.
Yeah, and that thing's barely broken in.
I love it. Yeah, it's getting more and more so, I gotta say. Yeah. At first it hurt my fragile thumbs, but I've developed a new callus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I listened to your latest episode. I like Jim's answer. While Bob puts his thumb in water.
Oh, my thumbs, my precious thumbs. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great, poor Bob. Jim.
Thank you. But do you not develop a new callus with every new, more robust knife you get? Like, I swear I do. Like,
I developed a new callus with that knife.
With this knife
too.
Yeah. Because it's
not the Emerson.
It's got
not
sort
the
of
Emerson.
No. It's got a sort of absurdly thin and
Yeah.
absolutely zero occlusion. I don't know if that's really a real word, but that's a word that Nothing Fancy uses.
Right.
It's got no occlusion here to allow you access. So you really jamming your finger on that like very thin titanium. Oh yeah. yeah, man. Oh, vinegar. Interesting.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I didn't know that works.
Wait, is that to get it tougher or to soften it back up?
Good question.
I'm happy with phosphor washers. My rat is 7 years old, used daily for 6 years, and still flies open. Yeah, and the more and more it opens up, the more it sands itself down. You know, it's like rock on rock. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. Can you put that back up? I missed the tail end of that comment. You know, with my mouth, I was talking too much. Well, what's a Texel? Is that like some new? Is that some new Wii or Best Tech? You know, with one of these.
Not sure.
All right, we're gonna buy your knives. Okay, just not so many of them. All right, you're giving us option paralysis. You know, pull back. They're all nice designs. Or if they're not, you know, then perfect them and give us fewer. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I agree with you. I think if companies just spent more time, and there's scientific research that backs this up, if you give people too many options, they're less happy with what they're going to pick in the end. If you have, let's say, 3 brands of peanut butter on the shelf at the store, and you can either choose A, B, or C. And then you take that same person, you put them in front of 15 different brands and variations of peanut butter with all different flavors. People start to get confused. And then even if they pick what they think is the right one at the time, then they're going to wonder about all the other 14 flavors.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. That's like well, this doesn't happen much anymore, but it used to be I'd go out to dinner, you know, with my wife, and she'd be like, she'd kind of labor over her decision. And we were both waiters back in the day, so we're cognizant of the time they need. I'd be like, "Come on, baby, make your choice. Come on." And then she'd choose. Okay, the trout, and then they bring it out, and they bring mine out, and she looks, "You won, you won." And I'm like, "God, you're so competitive. We're just eating dinner here, you know."
Yeah, me and my wife do that too.
It's the same thing. It's like, God, there are too many options. I've heard guitarists use vinegar to toughen up the skin on. Oh man, that's a good tip. I'm thinking of. I used to play bass back in high school and college, and I haven't in a long time. And then tonight, I was listening to music before an interview or before this show, and it's usually Miles Davis, but tonight I listened to Rush, who was you know. They helped me learn how to play bass because he's such a damn good bass player. And tonight I decided I'm going to find a cheap acoustic bass at some point. Not right now. I don't need to spend that money right now. But I'm going to find a cheap acoustic bass, not the big upright kind, but the kind that looks like a guitar, but it's 4 strings, and reconnect with my musical self. Best Tech. Oh, is that the one? Is that the Adam Purvis designed Warncliffe? He designed some cool knives. I know you and I have talked about him. We had a short email correspondence. I invited him onto the show. He's like, yeah, and then never responded to any of my follow-up emails. And I'm like, what did I do? Was it something I said? I always polish my bronze washers, increase the action and smoothness. And that's a good idea. Like with a really fine sandpaper, I would imagine that.
So here, if we're on this subject, I'll break you guys down, because I first experimented back when I bought my first really nice expensive knife, which was my Sebenza 21. And of course, I'm watching all these videos on different people doing it. So I can't remember if it was the Apostle P or one of the other old school YouTubers, but the way they did theirs is they took the washers out. And this method, guys, I'm just warning you, it's dangerous. So just be real careful. But they actually take 1,000 grit sandpaper just to roughen up the edge. And then they take stropping compound, the green stuff, and then they go over with the green to give it the nice full mirror polish. Now, I have found that with just mirroring your washers with just green compound and making sure you rotate every time, you rub them back and forth, rotate the washer, rub it back and forth, so you get a nice even all around. That's plenty good, because you don't want to thin out the washers to the point where it throws off the tolerance of the knife, and then you're screwed.
So I'm sorry. I use an Arkansas stone and fine. Oh, okay. So that would kind of be in line with what you're saying, Alex. It's not being so aggressive on cutting or removing material, but sort of more focused on polishing with that ceramic Arkansas stone.
Getting a nice flat
all right
surface. I mean, even Arkansas stones will take off material.
Okay. I think I have one that my dad gave me. I gotta check it out. So since we're talking about this, let me ask you. So this was always off center a little bit, and I never sent it back. And it's always had very good action. But upon let's see, recently I put a little drop of knife pivot lube in there, and the more and more I live on this earth, the less and less I want to lube my pivot. It's just kind of turning into a pain in the ass. And so it kind of seems to have glopped up the action. So I took it apart, and I'm like, oh, this is a good opportunity to see if I can right the ship here and get it centered, using all the tricks that I know anyway. And,
like tightening from the back of the handle to the front.
Yeah. And also with Emerson's, you kind of pinch and put more pressure on one side of your hand or not.
Right. And there's also you could put you fold like a little cardboard card or some kind of space to keep the blade wedged on one side.
Yeah.
And then you loosen the pivot all the way and then kind of work its way back in. Sometimes that works too.
Oh, that's good. So when I took this thing apart, I saw hey James, nice to have you, James. When I took this apart, James, we're talking about my kind of janky 06, what is this, 20 or 30? 0630. And so when I took it apart, I noticed a wear in the titanium. I can't remember if it was in the liner or in the lock side, but an uneven wearing of the washers. So if you look at the surface of it, the surface of the titanium right around the pivot, instead of seeing like an even circle around it, it was a much deeper groove on one side. Not deep like I could actually feel it, but it was way more polished in that circle impression on the titanium than it was on the other side. So it's obviously kind of been congenitally off, and every time I've used it, it's sort of worn that. How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this, man?
It sounds to me like it's an alignment of the scales. That's what it sounds like, but it could be a manufactured thing, and maybe, I'd have to play with it and take it apart.
You know what? I might just have to accept things, I might just have to accept it. And this is a great knife. I've used it to cut carpet, janky. You're always so technical. Yeah, that's a word I learned from a fine bit of cultural enrichment or ridiculousness. Probably my favorite show on television.
So James actually lives really close to me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's he's probably 15, 20 minutes away from my work. Not even that.
It's funny, James Moore. It's like James Bond, Roger Moore. Whenever then his face, he looks very sophisticated in his. So, have you met up with him? And
not yet. We're probably going to, but he was talking about this tea house that he goes to.
Oh, nice.
Super
Do they
fancy.
serve coffee, or is it all? Tea?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Don't be that jerk.
And then he just got a beautiful knife, actually. Big shout out to him. He got a Sharp by Design custom Void XL.
Ooh.
Fully milled out with a swedge. It's wow. Good job, James. That was a nice knife you posted today.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you say with a swedge, does it not always come with a swedge, or?
It comes with a smaller swedge in some variations of the blade. It's just right at the tip top corner of the blade. Let me see if I have something.
Did you see the swedge on that blade?
Yes.
that was
It'd
hot.
be like right here.
Ooh.
There's like a little bit of a top flare that comes up on the blade.
What is that? Is that a Best Man?
It is.
That's a cool knife. And natural micarta. I love micarta. I love
and it's got super twist Damasteel.
Oh wow.
This is like an exclusive one. This is actually the next knife I'm going to do a review on.
What character exclusive to what is that knife or collector knives?
It is Collector's Knives. Actually, you're right.
Net. Yeah,
yep.
They always do some cool exclusives.
Yep.
So, what scale is you? Okay. Oh wait. What scale is? Let's see. The show side. The show side. So what I've tried doing is upon reassembly, doing the tightening from the back, but also doing the push pull thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm sure you know. I'm sure Neves knows what I mean.
Yeah, it's like to shift them like this.
Yeah. Now I have done that in conjunction with your matchbook trick or your little wedge trick, and that's worked great on actual Emersons in the past. But anyway, so what have you gotten new recently?
Well, we're slowing down, because of the whole COVID-19 thing. But I did get a couple new things. This has actually been one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
This is a Cosi Steam Camp Samson. This, it sucks my lighting's bad right now, but it's got OD green micarta scales and OD green micarta pivot colors.
Yeah. God, that's gorgeous, man.
This thing is like practically
is that a hand rub?
Like a Shamwari killer in some respects.
Finally. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Is that hand rub? Well, that's a clip point. You look at that, it's subtle, but that is a clip point.
Yep.
You can drop point all you want, but that is a clip. Just like the Sabenza is a clip. Now, is that a hand rubbed, gorgeously hand rubbed satin? And then is the flat kind of high polish?
That's correct.
Jeez, Pete, man.
Now, I hate to give this away, guys, but so this is an N690 Blade, and as Bob said, you got the hand rub satin finish with the polished flats. You have, I can't even show it. I'll do it on the YouTube review, but on the inside of the titanium liners that are bronzed out, there's actual turning in there or jeweling. The action, it's IKBS. It's perfect. You got this really nice position front flipper. And there is not like one flaw on this knife whatsoever. Everything is perfectly smooth. And this knife was only $485.
Dude, whoa, where'd you get that? And what's this guy's name?
Mic drop. I got this one from Blade Gallery. They're really, really awesome people to do business with if you're into South African knives. They carry some really good stuff, and they're actually becoming exclusive A2 dealers for Andrew Thornburn and a couple other guys. But they are phenomenal people to do business with. And I actually follow Cosi and talk to him once in a while.
Cosi Steenkamp is his name?
Yeah, Steenkamp. And this guy is so humble, so nice. Man, like one of the coolest makers I've talked to. So we're actually going to be making another one of these. So this one will be for sale in the future.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope I have the right of first refusal.
Sure, if you would like it. Sure.
I would indeed. I want to mention something. You mentioned the jeweling on the inside, on the inside of the liner. Now, let's forget about price for a second and just talk about, like, to me, that is that's like, I don't know. I used to have a really cool jacket that had a really cool red lining. And to me, it was just, I'd take off the jacket and it's like, ooh,
right.
That fiery red. It's kind of the same thing with that knife. It's an aesthetic experience. Or a pleasant experience all throughout. Say you glance in there, say the light catches it, and you see something beautiful. That I like that. That's that attention to detail just to make something more beautiful, I think is really cool. And when you take it apart, if you take it apart, I don't know if it's something you can take apart, but when you
can, but you won't want to because it's IKBS.
Oh, the bearings will go running all over. You have to disassemble it in a clean room.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. So anyway, I like the idea of making every detail you can beautiful, and also in looking at it, it looks like a front flipper that I could manage. So yeah.
I mean, I'm blown away. I flat out told him, like, you way undercharged for this thing. This is way too cheap for what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the detent, the action, it's N690 steel. It's popular out there. It's bowlers.
Yeah.
So
Jim, bring up that last comment for a sec. Jeweling on the inside, so like a genital. Aha! I thought you said genteel tattoo, and I was like, what does that mean? But now I'm really like, what does that mean? I do know what you mean. Like, it's only seen.
It's like a pleasant surprise, right?
Yeah. Like, on special
I didn't know that
occasions.
was there.
Hey, Spirited Whiskey, great to have you, sir.
What's up, Ryan?
Yeah. It's like a open the knife and loosen the pivot push. Having pressure. Okay. All right. I'm definitely gonna do that because I don't want to say I'm desperate, because I'm not, but I don't want my eyes to start wandering. Be like, well, maybe I can find a 0630 that can stay centered. What about that? I don't want to get to that point. So I'm going to check out your tip from the comments and study it. Right now, I can't quite visualize what you're saying, but I know when I'm slow down later and actually get my stuff out, it'll be good to go. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I've gotten nothing new this past week, kind of the same thing. I have been working on, on the weekends, I've been working on knives, and that's fun because, I had 3 knives that were heat treated and then just sitting collecting dust for a long time, and I'm getting one of them I'm doing a hand rub on, and it's got a nice grind, and it's going to be a kitchen knife, and then I got 2 others, so that's cool. But I've gotten nothing new this past week, and it made me think, you don't have to be such a materialist. How about you appreciate what you have? So today we went out to the woods, and I was going to try and do a video roll in with a video I made with my daughters, or that they actually directed. My one daughter's like, turns the camera. She's like, I'm directing this. Anyway, it shows me in a bamboo forest that is definitely haunted. I will agree with my daughters, but we went to this bamboo forest, and I used my XL Recon 1. This is XHP steel to cut down some bamboo and use them for walking sticks and all that other stuff I talked about before. But this thing, man, oh man, this went through the bamboo like you would imagine a very broad, kind of thin and full flat ground, beautifully sharpened knife would. I mean, it went through it like when you see Lynn Thompson go through a tatami mat and you go and it waits a second and then it goes. It did the same thing. It was awesome.
Oh man, Lynn Thompson.
Yeah. Oh man, I came so close. I flew too close to the sun with Lynn Thompson. We were emailing back and forth, me and his assistant, to get him on the show, and then the trail went cold. But I'm trying. I will get him on, and I will interview him, and I will loosen him up, and we will have a good time.
You need to have that guy on your show. I would love to hear that one.
I bet he's got an amazing story. I've heard him mention, just kind of in passing, that he was a man of boy of very humble means, and I like those kind of stories. People who kind of like the Emerson story. A person of humble means goes west and starts knife company. Spirited Whiskey, much like Alex, I've been absolutely going off on buying knives because it keeps me sane while I'm still going to the chain.
What? I haven't been buying
I think he was saying the opposite, but
actually, I did get another new one.
Oh.
Whoops.
Oh, wait. Is that a Farad?
It is a Farid mare.
Farid. Oh, but it's the real deal. That is. Oh, Oh God.
So years ago, I still have it. I have a full size K2, and you can see his little name right there.
Mm-hmm.
This is one, and so now I got the mini, but this is the only one ever made in a full flat grind, and then he added this little fuller right here
on the one side. That's so cool. The one side fuller.
Just like all his other knives, it's got lock stick, but it's got very manageable lock stick because he uses this D3, and you can see the grind marks from the steel, and it's really sticky on titanium. So
dude, I like the eyeball and profile opening hole. Look at that. Hold that open. Can you hold that close to the? Yeah, it looks kind of like an eyeball.
Yeah,
in profile.
I think this is a mistake, is what I think this is.
Oh, I thought that was his way of getting around the Spyderco.
But I think
Spyderco Vig.
It could be, but I can see right here that's also where he started his fuller, right?
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing, if you look carefully inside, you could see it's actually gear pattern in there, inside the hole.
Really? I can't see that. Oh, inside the hole. Yeah, I can't see it. Oh, that's cool.
So I think that, I could be wrong, but I think the reason why this is the only flat grind that exists is because he messed up on this one and wanted to save the knife.
Yeah, well, I guess he realized if you have a V shape cross section right there where you're drilling that hole, it's always going to do that. You can't escape that look, at least from most angles. That's a very nice looking knife. Is that how long is that blade?
You know what? I'm not sure. I think it's like 3.6 or somewhere in that neighborhood, if I had to guess. It's definitely a lot smaller than the full size one, like a lot smaller. But I dig it. You know, I've been following Fareed for years because I always wanted an original K2. So when I finally got one, I actually bought the original one at Knife Center, and I regretted not getting the little one. So now I got a little one, and it's pretty neat.
Speaking of cool, large, offbeat Spydercos, the 100 Pacer. Did you ever? Yeah. That's a knife I regret never getting. That just is a cool, weird, large knife, and it looks like something I would love to carry. And I don't know why I never got it. Probably because it was more expensive than I thought I should pay for it. But
it was expensive, and it's kind of it's a polarizing design. It's not like for everybody.
Yeah,
it's I liked it, but not enough to buy it, I guess you could say. But I do like the blade design with it's almost like a Persian blade, and I'm a sucker for Persian blades. So.
And then the way it looks compared to the handle, which is a little bit thinner, it has like evokes an ancient design to me. It looks like an old stone knife updated into modern materials. I think it's kind of cool. But I forgot to mention that after I came in and cleaned the bamboo off of this knife, I made steak fajitas tonight, and this cut the steak. I was like, let me just see how this does. And wow, glides right through meat. So this knife did the full duty today as my EDC. And actually, I used to use a large Bowie Voyager as my grill knife. I haven't in a while. Maybe I'm afraid the plastic handles will melt, but this one, or you could always use this. Jim, you might have to go full screen. This one would be a good one for grilling. Look at this. You get you get if you do this and you lock around this little horn, you have a full-on machete here.
Yeah.
It's kind of
that's the largest spotter, right?
Yeah. My brother got this for me. He always gets me cool gifts. He found that at a gun show for a song. And I really like it. I love it with the, I have this knife in just the G10 with the blasted blade, but I love all the shiny.
It's all polished out, man. It's amazing.
It makes me want to like just walk around with a cummerbund all day and have this thing stuck in there. Yeah. Challenge me. Yeah. So
to manage the addiction, one of the things I've been doing is just buying little spare parts to pimp out the knives I already have. Because it's a little cheaper way to go.
So you recently got a Hinderer XM24 with the new spear point. With the new spear point blade.
Yeah.
Look at that. I love the XM.
So it's battle blue. And then it had a bright blue G10 scale, but I bought the textured carbon fiber one.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, because the light is so bad, you can't see, but I put some titanium blue screws on this side.
Yeah, you can see that. Do you have the couplers on the other side?
I actually left it all kind of polished on this side.
Man, that is a beaut. That is beautiful.
And the action on these things is just, it's wow. Really, really nice.
The action has always been good, or in my opinion, before they went to the Triway. I haven't experienced the Hinderer with the Triway pivot yet, but before they went to the Triway, they were making, you know, the regular Nylotron and the XM24s. I have two 24s and one 18, and the 24s were always, the action was always better just because it's got a bigger, heavier blade.
Right.
And they seemed to nail the detent on those before either of the 18s that I've owned myself. But now that they've gone to this switch, I still think that I would I think that if I got, or when I get a Triway pivot, I think I would probably go with the phosphor bronze. I think I would trade up from the Nylotron that they ordinarily, or that they used to come with, but I don't think I'd go ball bearings, because when I think Hinderer, I think drive over it with a commuter bus, and to me, like, you know my misgivings.
I thought the same thing too, man. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like that. They came with the bearings loaded inside, and when I just, did that, I'm like, maybe I'm not going to mess with it for now. I think it's fine.
I love that new blade shape, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a spear point, like just a really nice one.
Yeah. And
with a size, like a blade this size, because I don't have an 18 in 3.5. I have a 3-inch without a choil. And then I have this 24, and then with a choil on the 24 makes a lot more sense to me. That fits perfect,
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I got the Bowie and I got the Wharncliffe in that model, and oh man, I love them both. I mean, I think the Wharncliffe 24 is the most beautiful Wharncliffe out there. I just love that blade shape. So how have your carry habits changed? Have they changed with your changing schedule, with the changing climate outside?
Not really. I mean, if I go to the store with my daughter, I bring a knife. If I go out, pretty much anywhere, I always have a pocket knife with me. So I still change up whatever I carry every day to something else. Lately, I've been trying to just more concentrate on carrying what I'm going to review, just to get a good, feel for it. Or if I buy something new, like this one I put some new screws on it. This is the Style 55 Arius. So I put some bronze on it just to kind of make it a little bit different. Just kind of carry them, whatever I got.
So you recently posted, Hinderers seem to get a pass on this, but I have a mental block against G10. Interesting. Well, very diligently milled G10.
Yeah, plus when you look at the Hinderer, it's not really a full G10 scale. It is titanium on both sides. The G10 is just an overlay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. My feelings about carbon fiber. I mean, this is the one carbon fiber knife I have remaining. I'm just not a big fan. And it's all about the look. I admit, though, I do like the irregular look of marbled carbon fiber and carbon fiber that I don't necessarily care to spend money for, but when I see it, I'm like, oh, I like that much better than the regular pattern of say this. But I love this Sinkovich. What is this? The 452 at the CF. I love this knife so much that I'm not going to change this one. But I think what James is getting at is probably carbon fiber is a more deserving material to go on that knife as it ships. Would you agree?
Yes. Everything. I did a video on the 3-inch I had, And that little 3-inch ended up costing me, because I wanted to change out all the hardware and backspacers to black and put a carbon fiber scale on it. It went from a $450 or whatever knife to a $700 knife. You know, because I had to buy the tool, I had to buy, you know, the scale was another $100, and then, you know, like it just all adds up. Same thing with this one. These 4 titanium screws were $42. That's a lot. Yeah. I got on the Arius right here, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These were $30 shipped. Damn. From Koenig knives. Yeah. So you know, they really hit you between the eyes when it comes to buying accessories, which is what I don't like about them.
It can be worth it though, because it can really, you know, it can bring up the spirits on it. It can take a knife from something that's almost something you're going to carry all day to something that you're going to carry every day. Right. We're going to talk about that in a quick second, but you know what, Rick Hinderer, yes, Marble, I agree. Me too. Something about Rick Hinderer that I love. Also something about Les George that I love is how they lend their beautiful designs to, not lend them, but they make designs for, say, Kershaw or ZT in a number of different strata. So you can, if you love the Hinderer designs, you know, you can spend up to, you know, a lot of money for one, or you could wet your feet with a cryo, which is the Kershaw cryo, which is an awesome knife, and it's got that Hinderer flair, that design, and so, you know, to me, that's the same with Les George. You know, here's a great ZT Les George that I love. Here's an actual Les George. This is a Grail knife. Took me forever to find, and I got. But also, I got this from my brother-in-law Christmas time. This $19. What is this called? This is the This is a Les George Kershaw. It's speed safe. It's a steel frame lock with 8CR13 MOV steel. This thing looks beautiful. I think it looks awesome, and it feels awesome. And it's a Les George design. This is called the I can't remember what the hell this thing is.
It's the Les George design.
Yes, it is a but my point is, you know, you don't like I like how you can get into one of his designs because they are emblematic. You can tell almost always that it's one of his designs. Oh yeah. I like that you can step into one at any price range.
Right. No, I agree.
I thought $30 for a set of blue tie screws from Koenig wasn't bad. Actually, It's like 6 screws. You said that's $5 a screw. They're titanium. They're made in his spot and anodized there. And I would imagine that making tiny screws, it's not nothing. It takes some doing, right?
Right. And they are like good quality screws. I mean, the Torx bit went in there pretty deep actually compared to some of the other hardware you deal with. So, and
think of how fine those freaking threads are, man. And they have to be strong for my Arius, that is. Oh.
Yes. Everybody loves the Arius. They're phenomenal knives.
I think this is gonna be one of those knives that like the ZT I looked at recently that I just didn't like until I actually had it in hand, and then I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's gonna be like with the Arius, because I have massive respect for it and for the company and their story, and he's another person I'd love to talk to on the show, but something about the knife doesn't appeal to me like the Goblin does. The Mini Goblin is such a cool looking knife. To me, that's my design language. So so this is a question out to everybody, and also Alex. Is there a priority shift in your collecting, or if you are, and I'm talking specifically about a time of uncertainty. I don't know. Some people, I think I am in the rare minority that's going to work every day, and because I'm in communications, and that's I guess I realized I guess this is the time I'm needed most, which kind of blows because I'd love to be at home, making these all day. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So this is going to hold a can of San Marzano tomatoes, and we're going to take a picture of it, show our teacher.
Nice.
So change in the, are you looking for more weapons, melee things? Speaking of melee things, in going through my stuff, I forgot I had this. Jim, you might go widescreen for this.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't need a Warhammer with Langettes, dude? Just in case I'm going against, just in case I'm going up against, someone with a two-handed battle, two-handed claymore or something. The Warhammer. I always thought the Warhammer was a particularly cool weapon. It's like a can opener and it's like a can opener and a bludgeon in one, and they would use it to, smack other knights on the head and stun them, and then you turn it around and you poke them through the helmet with the business end. It's a nasty weapon, man.
Big time.
You can see a good depiction of the use of Warhammer in Braveheart. There's a period of time where he has a Warhammer, and the funny thing is you see them slow motion running into the fray, and you can see his Warhammer going whoa, 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 because it's rubber. You don't want Mel Gibson to fall on a real Warhammer. God damn it! Bring the Corman in. Can you put the last comment up, Jim? Yeah, thank you. Yes. And then the one before that, I think there was another implement lever. Oh yes, I need to get that. It's funny because my wife and I love Vikings, the show, and every time we turn it on, I get my Norse tomahawk, kind of put it next to the chair so I can, in case some sort of a Viking fight breaks out right there while we're watching it. I'm well prepared. All right, it's been about an hour of us just hanging out, chatting, and I'm wondering if anyone has anything else to add. Hello. Oh, what am I talking about? Thank you. Okay. All right. So I wanted to promo an upcoming. I run a show and I never follow it. Okay. I wanted to promote an upcoming interview. We just had it the other night with Aaron Goff, and he's a knife maker that came to my attention through Alex himself. Alex had just purchased this knife. Let's take a look.
All right. Here it is.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Beautiful outdoors knife. It's an A2 steel with his own custom heat treat.
So I highly recommend people listen to this podcast. He is a very interesting knife maker. Oh, I love those liners, dude.
Yeah.
I love those liners. Dude, I'm saying dude. I've been hanging out with my 9-year-old daughter. Dude. But show the pommel. Now, this is something we talk about a little bit. I noticed it comes to a put it against the background wall. The wall over your left shoulder, so we can really see. Yeah. Okay. See how it comes to a point. The tang is slightly proud at the very end, and it comes to a diamond-like point. So you can break glass with it, but you can also cap it with your thumb if you have it in reverse grip without damaging your thumb. Unlike knives like I don't have them here, but so all right. This guy, Aaron Goff, is a very, very interesting cat because there are some things I'm about to say. Well, I'm not going to say them because you should listen to it, but he's different. His mission is different. He's very much into designing and creating and fabricating other things, and just very interesting and meticulous guy. I highly recommend you check him out on Instagram and just kind of follow his process. If you're into Snex or how do you pronounce his name? I never know how to pronounce it.
Snextan?
Yeah. If you're into Snex and like watching his meticulous process and coming up with his knives, Aaron Goff is kind of in a similar camp, I would say. And what a beautiful knife he has in the Mark. That's the Mark II, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he's super interesting dude. Very technical.
It was funny to hear him. He scoffs about making sheaths. It's as much of a pain in the ass as you expect, apparently. So,
yeah, there
you have it. Check out Aaron Goff. Coming up, that will be episode number 98 on March. I saw it 29th. William Wallace sword. Wait. Keep it back up. Oh, Aaron. Oh, thank you. March 29th. I knew I saw that. Okay. Podcast number 98, March 29th. And then the episode after that will be our 100th. Obviously. I know you can all count.
The real William Wallace
is available to view in my hometown. It's about 6 feet long. They had it at Grand Central Terminal. Well, at this point, like 12 years ago, and I saw it, and it's impressive. And the hilt is all. If I remember correctly, the hilt is it doesn't look like the sword in the movie. It is as big, but obviously it's been through a lot over time, and it's lost a lot of the hilt and stuff. But man, it's impressive to see.
Freedom.
Yeah. And those big swords, a lot of the time, just the front 12 inches were sharp, and then the rest of it was for just, imagine a piece of steel that's that heavy, but also that thin coming down on your collarbone, man. You just shatter bones and render you, incapable of fighting back, and then stab you, just incredibly brutal. I think melee warfare, God, it's hard to even imagine fields of people just hacking away at each other until it's quiet. Scotland. You're in Scotland. How cool is that?
That's where I get my scotch from, man.
Scotland. Oh, man. My wife lived in London in 2006, and this was right before we were married, and we were planning on going to Scotland, and our weekend got ruined, and we didn't end up going. And we've always kind of, we'll go again. We will attempt it another time, for sure. Alex, thanks for coming on, man. Anything else you'd like to bring up before we get to the knife fight?
This knife fight I'm dreading, man.
I hope you've been training.
I have not. It's going to be as terrible as it always is. But
if anyone will just chime in real quickly, who should defend the frame lock and who should defend the triad lock? Frame lock versus triad lock in a
please give me the frame lock. Please give me the frame lock. Please give me the frame lock.
In a marquee knife fight. Let's find out. Someone give him the triad. Come on, give him the triad. It's so obvious what the strengths of the frame lock are. Okay. All right. No one's speaking up. Alex.
Shit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It must have been the Scotch comment. He's like, we're about more than Scotch.
That's what they're known for there.
Yeah, and big, giant, strong people who lift up big stones.
Yes.
All right, sir. I want to hear it.
Damn it! I go first too.
You don't have to go first. It says frame lock. Why don't I start? Why don't I start tonight?
No. You know what? I got this. This. All right. Let's train wreck right now. Fine, people of this establishment, I am happy to see you all join me tonight to discuss why the triad lock is obviously superior to any frame lock knife. Frame lock just is a flimsy piece of titanium that meets the back of the blade tang and hopefully adhesive or sticks to the back of the blade tang when you're trying to use the knife. And if it slips, your fingers are going to be gone. Now, the triad lock, obviously being with triad for 3 points of contact, is like a back lock on steroids. And considering the amazing testing that Lynn Thompson has done by basically putting 2 elephants on a pedestal, weighing it down on a triad lock, and the knife not failing, I will tell you right now, the triad lock is much, much better.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for this opportunity to express my opinions on this important matter. I would like to first humbly suggest that any person who relies on their folding knife to hold up 2 elephants needs to do some work on themselves. But I will move on from that point just to say that why would you not go for something that is reinforced by your own hand? This lock, this titanium frame lock, uses space age alloys to lightly but strongly and firmly hold this blade open, and as long as I'm able to hold this knife, as long as there is strength in these limbs and in this body to hold this knife, it will remain locked because I am reinforcing that lock with my own grip strength. See that? So he didn't have a triad to show you, did he? How are you supposed to know that it's actually 3 points of con? I thought it was triad, like they're trying to be tough, like the triad gang. So you know what? I'm just going to say that, you know, the triad is nice if you're, you know, a ninja or, you know, an operator. But if you're not, and you actually have knives that you plan to carry and use, why not go the civilized route? Thank you.
Wait, and let's end with, how many triad lock knives does Bob own?
Several. Oh, you want to see a triad lock? I'll show you triad lock. Okay. No. All that being said, I do trust the triad lock quite a bit. If there's anyone who has anything to do with Cold Steel in any sort of way, I was not dissing you. Come on to the show. Let's talk about it. No, actually, I will plug episode number, I think it was 27. We had Andrew DeMarco on. What a cool dude that guy is.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I know you've been carrying around one of his AD-15s recently.
Yep.
So
just reviewed it.
Yeah. I have not watched that one, nor have I watched the one you put out today.
I'm sorry, guys. If you guys are in my part of my channel or following me on YouTube, that DeMarco one was long.
Oh, it was long? Oh, long is good. You always you describe things well, and you really get a nice look. I agree. In these crazy times, you might need to hold up, I don't know, three elephants at once, because we don't know where this thing's going, man. It could be 3 elephants. One of these days, I'll jump on the show with you. That would be excellent. You just let us know. Jim will send you the link. And then boom, you pop up, and suddenly I've met Spirited Whiskey in virtual person, which would be awesome. And maybe your dog will come too, because I always see your little dog in the logo. Clearly, I won, Jim. Right? Doesn't the house always win? just kidding. All right. Well, someone help me wrap this thing up. Someone say who won, and then I'll let you go. All right. Jeez, no Pete, man. No, Alex, as always, it's been a total pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine.
It's I was just talking tonight about my new virtual friend on the West Coast to my wife, and she said, "Aw, a knife friend." I was like,
"Yeah, my wife knows you too, Bob.
You're a knife friend." That's funny. Well, Alex, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on Thursday Night Knives.
Yes.
And thank you to everyone who's watching tonight and commenting, and I don't mean to make a big deal about this, but I am excited that some women are watching. I know at least 2 tonight.
Oh yeah, women carry knives.
Women carry knives,
yeah,
and one
that's
half
a good channel.
of Neve's not. Yep. And I love that because that's how I met my wife. Not that she's a knife collector, but she trained in Kali, and and I did too, and that's how we met. And so she's very knife sympathetic. My daughters are into knives, even though they're little. I'm planning on getting one daughter one of my first Open L or my first Swiss Army knife. Jock's Knives, thank you for joining us all the way from Scotland. That is really cool. It's really nice to know that we're reaching out beyond our shores. That's awesome, and that there are knife junkies and knife collectors and knife nuts all over the place. Love it.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you, and for Jim working his magic behind the behind the scenes here, and for Alex Tissot of Alex's Knifebox and the Sharp Talk podcast, I'm Bob the Knife Junkie DeMarco saying, don't take no for an answer.